But we're talking about Building 7, okay? And that's a 47-story building that came down at virtually free fall speed within its own footprint. That alone gives you enough evidence to investigate. Wait a minute, we've got a lot of questions here. First of all, you can't make a building fall at free fall speed without getting rid of any resistance underneath. So that means you have to get rid of the floors underneath in order for it to fall and not hit any resistance. And that's what I always try to tell people about the two World Trade Centers and Building 7.
Why did the FDNY report hours before 7 came down that the building was going to collapse as a result of structural damage?
How did they know? No building, no high-rise building, steel frame high-rise building ever collapsed due to fire. How did they know? No
They
building.
put a transit on the building and then they realized that it was leaning, it was structurally unstable.
Okay, then how does it fall at free fall speed within its own footprint straight down and doesn't really harm both buildings?
What direction should it have fallen in?
I have no idea. Not straight down, that's for sure.
Well, that's the direction of gravity.
No. We're talking about a tall building with a lot of structure in there. And if one weakens and this one weakens and that weakens, it's going to go something a little weird. Not straight down. You got a real problem with that.
But it's not like it fell just out of the blue, out of nowhere, because it was structurally unsound, according to the FDNY who were witnessing the scene prior.
Are you sure about that fact?
Yeah, Chief of Operations Daniel Nigro.
Well, you wonder, does everybody have their facts straight? And that's one of the biggest problems of this. But I always bring people back to the free fall speed of a building and how it falls within its own footprint. That to me is amazing. And there was a building in 2005 in Madrid that had a fire that was for 20 hours.
That had a concrete core, though.
It was a high-rise steel frame building.
It had a concrete core. If you look at the photos the day after, the steel portion of the building collapsed. The concrete stayed up.
The steel portion on the top, the very top.
On the outside. If you look at the photos after the fire, the concrete portion of the building is still standing. The steel portion all around the concrete area has collapsed.
Okay, I can't, verify these facts right now. All I know is that building did not collapse like Building 7.
Because it had a concrete core and it wasn't hit by a plane or a falling skyscraper.
Did you ever look into how this building was made?
Yes.
And what did you find out?
I found that it was bridged over a power station. So in other words, it was highly susceptible to failure on the lower floors. And there was massive structural failure reported on the lower floors by witnesses of the FDNY.
Okay, see now, you hear facts like that, and I hear other facts.
From who?
Okay? Well, I don't have as good a memory as you, okay? But I've heard that building was very structurally sound, and it was because it housed a lot of things in there that the government, wanted to maintain. So it was a structurally sound building.
Well, I don't doubt it was structurally sound before it got hit by a skyscraper.
Well, it didn't get hit by a skyscraper. It got hit by maybe some things from a skyscraper. A skyscraper didn't fall down on it.
So what caused it to lean, according to the FDNY transit readings?
I have no idea. I can't answer that question. But what caused it to fall at free fall speed? What caused it to fall right into its own footprint?
Well, when the base supports are compromised and it can't hold up the building by the damage to the lower floors.
Well, I don't think that, you could just come up with some basic facts here and say, okay, it just fell at free fall speed because that was just broken. There is not enough evidence here from either you or me, to be honest with you, to come to a good decision here. Let alone the 9/11 Commission doesn't even once mention Building 7. Why is that?
Well, because it wasn't tasked with, the commission was tasked with investigating the attacks. It wasn't an engineering commission. It was never its mandate to look into 7. That's why it didn't.
Well, wouldn't you want to know why a building collapsed?
Well, not if that's
part of the event.
That's an engineering report, not a commission report.
Part of the event. 3 buildings came down that
But it wasn't directly attacked. That's why it wasn't mentioned in the 9/11 Commission report.
Well,
it didn't mention Tower 4. It didn't mention Tower 6. It didn't mention Deutsche Bank. It didn't mention any of the other buildings other than the towers.
I think that's a poor investigation. If you ask me, I want to know everything.